Hello YouTube, it's James and I'm here to tell you about the Destiny Alpha that's just been available on the PlayStation 4. So I think it ended yesterday and I recorded a few videos just to give you an idea of what Destiny's all about. If you like me, and probably a lot of other people, you've been really excited for Destiny. It's the new game coming from the guys behind Halo. They've shown off a lot of trailers and there's been lots of articles on various websites. But not a lot in terms of how the actual game works. So the alpha was a great chance to get on board, and if you weren't on PlayStation 4 or weren't able to play the alpha, hopefully this will answer a few questions for you. So as you boot into the alpha, the first thing it asks you is to choose a class. There's three available, which is Titan, Hunter, and Warlock. Titan is your conventional sort of all guns blazing fighter class. The Hunter is a more sort of precise, I guess, sniper class, and then Warlock is a sort of, I guess, your equivalent to a mage and sort of support character. Destiny is first and foremost definitely a first-person shooter, so the classes do play very similar, and they have a few skills that are class-specific. I'd say very similar to Borderlands 2, in the sense that everyone can use all the different weapons available, but you each have your own sort of skill that makes you different from each other. So when you've chosen which class you want to be, you get quite a few customization options. You get to choose of one of three races, get to choose your skin tone, facial features, etc, etc. As far as I'm aware, all of the characters are just cosmetic differences, so if you play as a human or an awoken, doesn't make a difference. It's just for sort of your choice. So in this little demo here, I think I'm playing as one of the sniper guys, one of the hunters. I'm not sure. I've played as several characters. So I just finished that up. Now, with Destiny, I can quite clearly compare it to three games, and that's Halo, Borderlands, as I said, and the strangest one is probably an MMO like Guild Wars. Now, Destiny is in itself very much its own game. I'm not saying it's a direct comparison to those, but a lot of the gameplay mechanics do feel similar, and you'll see why when we get into the game. The beta for this is going to be available July 17th for PlayStation 4 customers. I believe it's part of anyone that has pre-ordered the game. So if you miss the alpha, you get another chance next month to play it. And I can definitely recommend it. So when the game boots up, you'll see that we start in an area which is Old Russia. And this is where the mission takes place, available in the alpha demo. Now, visually, this is where the comparisons come to Halo. It does look very similar. Obviously, the three characters you can choose have Spartan-esque armor, and now the game's loaded, you can see that, you know, the futuristic settings, the weapons, the art style is very sort of Halo-esque. You don't have the same sort of shiny feel to it. Control-wise, it's very solid. I mean, even at this early stage, it works very well. I would say, again, very similar to Halo. Not quite as floaty, though. I always felt in Halo like I was sort of sliding around. Now, when you start actually shooting bad guys, that's where it then immediately starts feeling like Borderlands again. So you'll see the numbers flying out of the bad guys. They've got health bars. A lot more methodical and tactical than Borderlands. Borderlands is sort of more chaotic. You get really crazy over the top weapons, enemies running at you from all sides. In Destiny, it is a more tactical shooter, so you do have to make use of cover. You know, you can't just go all guns blazing all the time. You would have seen that there was another player just there. Whilst you're in these open areas, other people can jump into your game and you can team up with them. Just picking its bones. And that can either be your friends or just random players. Now each area is also available to explore in free roam, where you'll have various collectibles available, as well as side missions to complete.
Up the hill, the building with the radar. That's the Skywatch.
So visually, I think, you know, even again at this early stage, it's looking very, very good. Performance-wise, seems great. There's never been a point in the demo where there's a lot of stuff on screen. Some of the areas do feel fairly sparse as far as bad guy placement. But yeah, I mean, performance-wise is very, very good. Now, as you kill bad guys, you gain experience points and also a resource called Glimmer, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. But I'll just let the gameplay sort of play out. Each character has 2 weapons to start with, a normal sort of assault rifle and then a special weapon. Special weapon in the case of the alpha is a shotgun. You can also collect a heavy weapon as well. But I didn't see any of that in the alpha. You've then got a grenade ability. Now each class has their own specific grenade. I believe the hunter that I'm playing as now has a sort of EMP grenade. The warlock has sort of this void grenade, so they throw a magical energy ball. Grenades are unlimited in this game, but they recharge. You'll see next to the ammo counter there's a little grenade icon, and as I use it, I have to wait for it to recharge to use again. You can sort of speed up the rate at which it recharges via various skill upgrades. But it doesn't mean that you can spam grenades. It's quite useful in multiplayer as well, because it means if you ever played Halo, you know, quite often grenades would be my my downfall. So here we're coming across one of the slightly more powerful enemies, very much like an elite in Halo. He's got a shield that you've got to take down before you can actually damage him. So I think I'll kill him here with a close combat. Yes, there we go. Enemies in the game, you'll see in a moment, do respawn. Now this is because it is in a sense an MMO. It's very sort of instance based, so you'll never see thousands of players online, but you will come across the odd player. So in certain areas, enemies will respawn. There we go, there they've just appeared. That means that you can sort of stay in an area, sort of level up, either gather resources and equipment off bad guys. In story areas of the game, it will then cut you off from the rest of the map, and then you won't have enemies respawning and things, so they can actually, yeah, be a little bit more story based. Now you'll see from those bad guys I killed, I leveled up my character, and I should open up my menu any second now, my inventory menu. Now this is where the sort of RPG MMO elements start coming into the game. You have a full list of equipment, so you can change all of your armor from your helmet to your gauntlets to your chest piece. You then have your various equipment. So here you can see I've got the assault rifle and shotgun. If I go down, you then have your ghost shell, which sort of is your guide through the level. It points out objectives, and you get a couple of different vehicles, one of which is a little sort of motorbike to fly around on, and the other one is a spaceship. Now as I go into the skills menu here, you'll see that you've got quite a large skill tree for each class. Skills upgrade based on how you've used them. So use a grenade more often, you'll be able to upgrade the grenade skill tree. Use your jetpack and that will level up, etc, etc. And as you kill bad guys, you actually level up your character, and that's where you can then spend skill points. Now as I said, each class has its own specifics, but there's not vast differences from them that I've seen. But as you progress through the game, they will aim to get you using different weapons. Now, I think I just run around for a little bit, so I'm going to cut to another video now, and I'll show you the next part of the game. Actually, I think as I run outside, I'll just quickly show off one other bit. So these bad guys you'll see should have respawned. Yeah, there they go. Swinging my knife around like a lunatic. Oh. There you go, show off the shotgun. Right, so as I get outside, I think in this video clip I do actually get my vehicle. So by pressing the touchpad at any point, you can get your shell or ghost shell to come up, and it will give you a couple of options. It'll point you out to any objectives that are currently on the map, and it will also allow you to fly off the planet, which we'll show you in a moment, or select your vehicle. So here we go. If I open it up, you can then summon your vehicle, and as I said, you've got sort of like a speeder jet bike. Again, these are things that you can purchase new ones and upgrade. Here we go, and I think I just fly off a cliff in a second. So yeah, the two big comparisons here are sort of Halo in terms of visuals and how the gunplay works, and then the way the bad guys sort of have health bars, and your characters sort of Borderlands-esque. Right, so now I go into orbit. Is this the one? Right, so this is what being in orbit looks like. So you've got your spaceship there. You can then set destination. Now in the alpha, there's 3 areas available. You've got Earth, the Tower, and the Crucible. Earth is where all of your missions take place, so that's where all the first-person gunplay will take place. The Crucible is where conventional sort of multiplayer matches happen, so things like deathmatch, capture the flag, etc. And then the Tower is your home base, your central hub for getting missions. Now, if I click on Earth, there's 3 areas available in the alpha. You've got the Dark Within, which is the starting mission. You've then got a free roam explore mode where you can explore the same map that I was on earlier, but you can complete side missions. And then you've got a strike. Now, strikes are like your sort of raids or dungeons in a classic MMO. You team up with other players and you take on lots of enemies and boss characters. They're slightly more difficult, but they reward you with extra XP, special loot. Then you've got the Tower, as I said, which is your central sort of hub. So I'm going to go to the Tower next. I'm going to cut this video and show you what's in the Tower. Now the Tower is where Destiny takes on a more classic sort of MMO, and this is where my comparison to Guild Wars would be. So in the Tower you play in a third-person perspective. It's pretty sparse at the moment because I'm playing very late in the alpha, but when I first played, this was filled with loads of other players. So that's where you can meet other players, sort of team up and sort of trade with people and talk. I've just gone to a vendor, so you can see you have vendors available where you can purchase weapons using the resource I mentioned earlier called Glimmer. Now, Glimmer is your primary currency for most things, but you have 2 other currencies called Vanguard Marks and Crucible Marks. Now, Vanguard and Crucible Marks are a special resource you get from completing bounties. I'll go over to this character here now, and he'll be the bounty tracker. Now, bounties are special challenges that take part in either the player versus environment or player versus player areas of the game. So, Crucibles are earned by doing player versus player, so there'll be special challenges like kill a certain of bad guys in a time limit, or win a match without being killed. And then you've got Vanguard bounties, which take place in player versus environment. So it could be during a strike you have to kill a certain amount of enemies, or again not get killed. The rate at which you can collect these special resources, I don't know. I have one concern, is that it's quite possible that they'll have microtransactions in the game, and if they do, I guarantee it will be those Crucible and Vanguard marks that you can pay real money for. Now, with the Crucible and Vanguard marks, you can buy your sort of elite equipment, so there'll be special equipment for each class, and that's where you get the highest ranking bits and pieces. And I think that shows off everything that's in the tower. So when you're in the tower, like I said, it was very sparse there, but you can meet other players, and then you can sort of team up with them to take part in various missions. So I'll just go back to the other video. Here we go. And skip forward a little bit to, I believe, yeah, so this is the Crucible. The Crucible is the multiplayer element of the game, so the competitive multiplayer. And in the alpha, you've got access to a level called Control. Now, Control is a conquest-style game where you have to capture points off the bad guys and sort of hold them to earn points. This plays very much like any typical sort of first-person shooter online. You know, Call of Duty or Halo again. A couple of things I did notice about it is, obviously the game's an RPG, so your characters will have level differences. In this particular match, it says level advantages have been disabled. So I think any sort of health bonus or, you know, upgrades you get from leveling up your character won't take effect, which will balance out the game quite a bit. The only thing I did notice that I didn't like is that there's no weapon pickups during the match. You only have the equipment that your character had during the story or in the tower. This means that if you've got weapons that are only good for certain circumstances, you're stuck with them. In this particular round, I only had a single shot rifle, as where everyone else had automatic weapons. I'm not sure if the stats of the weapons are balanced, but at this stage I can see that higher level characters definitely have an advantage in terms of equipment, which is good if you want to show off your sort of character, but for general competitive matches I did find it a little bit unbalanced. So you see I'm just capturing a point here. So hopefully that's something that they change or certainly balance in the main game. But for the most part, no, it plays very, very well. So that's the multiplayer. I'll quit out of this. And I mean, that's pretty much everything that was in the alpha. So you had your free roam sort of and missions set on Earth. You had the tower where you can meet other players, get equipment and upgrade. And then you had your competitive multiplayer. Yeah. Like I said, if I had to compare it, Halo, Borderlands and Guild Wars is exactly what I'd say it's a mix of, but it does feel very fresh and new in its own right. Now, I'm glad that Bungie have decided to do an alpha and indeed a beta next month for the game, because it does give you a very good idea of what it's like. I think some of the problems with games like this, AAA games now, where they just show off trailers, is the hype surrounding them gets, you know, huge, and it's not necessarily representative of what the game is like. Watch Dogs came out last month, and although I'm thoroughly enjoying it, I think it did get a lot of criticism from people where, as I said, their expectations were very high and the game didn't necessarily meet what they were expecting. So yeah, I mean, hopefully this has given you a quick idea of what Destiny's like. Next month I will try and do some actual Let's Plays on the beta and show off more of the game. But from what I've seen, I'm very excited and can't wait. Alright, thank you very much and enjoy your day. Final thing, I've started doing a podcast with one of my buddies over on a channel called Brother and Beast. So if you've got the time, check it out. We've done a couple, and this week we were talking all about E3 and the stuff that happened. Anyway, take care. Bye.